The one with the birth is such a sweet episode of Friends. To be honest, it kind of surprises me that this isn't the season finale, although the season finale of season 1 is brilliant. But this would have been such a moving way to end it, because obviously we have the birth of, well, Ross and Carol's baby. I was going to say the name of the child there, assuming that you knew what it was called. But part of the episode is about coming up with the name for this baby. So I cannot promise that this will be a spoiler-free discussion, most likely because I'm probably going to slip up at one point and say the name of the baby. Most people have seen Friends by this point, but if for whatever reason you're just watching it just now for the first time, I am so jealous. I'd love to rediscover Friends for the first time. But at the same time, I love the fact that I've, been obsessed with it, madly in love with it, appreciated it on an almost daily basis for the best part of 2 decades. But this episode is about the birth, of course, and needless to say, it's not a straightforward birth insofar as Carol goes into labour. The next scene she has the baby. It takes the entirety of the episode, and a lot is going on. We have obviously the main narrative of Carol giving birth and Susan and Ross constantly bickering, partly about what to name the baby. But there's also one of my favourite moments in Friends, and I was watching this today, rewatching it of course, because I like to rewatch them before I review them, just because it's a really good excuse to watch Friends. Not that an excuse is needed, but I was watching the episode, and even though I've seen this many times, I had tears in my eyes when Phoebe gave her speech. As I said, this will contain spoilers. When Phoebe gave her speech about how this is the luckiest baby in the world, because it has 3 whole parents fighting over who gets to love it the most. And I genuinely, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's such a moving episode, and just Ross, the way Ross kind of reacts when he gets to hold his son and see his son for the first time, it's so beautiful. I'm not, I don't know how to word this without sounding weird. I'm not a baby person. I'm not the kind of person to look at babies and instantly hear the sound of my biological clock ticking. I'm not, I don't find every baby cute. But there is something about this, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and it's so moving. We also have, in hindsight, a really fascinating conversation between Chandler and Monica, where Chandler says, if you're not married by the time you're 40, let's get together. And of course Monica loses it, because why wouldn't she be married when she's 40? Maybe when that episode first aired, that was just a flippant comment from Chandler that didn't really do much. It was, the humour there was based around Monica's reaction, rather than there being any weight to what Chandler had said. Although it wouldn't surprise me if the writers this early on had maybe some possible inclination that the show was going towards. It's really difficult to know how much to say without giving spoilers away for future episodes and seasons, because I assume that everybody knows what happens, but at the same time, everybody who watches Friends has to discover it for the first time, and that's such a beautiful, beautiful journey. But yes, that conversation I thought was wonderful. Joey is... well, Joey's helping a woman give birth. A stranger. And it gave us some great lines for Joey after the fact that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Rachel's flirting with a doctor. That's basically the extent of her involvement here. I really enjoy it. It's so beautiful. Even though it's such a heartfelt, moving, sentimental episode, it is still funny. There is still humour in this one. Phoebe sings quite a bit. Phoebe has quite a few songs in this one, and obviously always love Phoebe singing. I honestly can't find anything bad about it. There's nothing about this that I think should have been different. There's nothing that didn't work well. Everything is beautiful. From start to finish, it's a magical episode. I do think it should have been the final episode. But again, the final episode of the season is still pretty powerful. So either way, the one with the birth, I can't find fault with it at all.